Great. So, hi, Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. It'd be really great to understand a little bit more about sort of your role and a bit more about Better Market and sort of the history of Better Market.
Hi, Megan. It's very nice to be in this podcast. It's actually it's like one of the first experience for me to be in the podcast. So I'll try to enjoy it. Yeah, in
Yes.
general, Better Market is actually a B2B marketplace for sustainable food products, and the whole idea, I would say, it kind of grew pretty naturally because previously I've been consulting many manufacturing companies, and then so I was helping them, and then I decided that I would like to create something that could help many companies, and as well, I really want to do something meaningful, so that's why we decided, to try to help companies that are actually doing sustainable food and yeah, and the whole concept of sustainability is really broad, and you can talk a lot about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So this,
definitely.
yeah, so this is basically how it happened.
Amazing. And when you decided to start the marketplace after your experience of consulting, how did you sort of get starting,
Mhm.
attracting buyers and sellers onto the marketplace?
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. The start was kind of funny because previously we've been building many stuff, and then we spend a lot of money developing things, and some of those things even didn't went to the market, but we developed a lot. So we decided that okay, this time we're gonna do really lean, and we started with a really simple landing page and registration. And so we thought that okay, so if the buyers and suppliers would accept to register, um, then probably somebody needs that. So we started with this, and we started to get the registration. So it's a basic sort of Airtable registration, and we've got around like 100 buyers and suppliers, and we were thinking, okay, so probably there is a need, so this is so this is how it started, and after that, we said, okay, then we have to develop something because there are already some users that would like to use what we said. So then we develop sort of a chat solution for them to connect and to be able to have a conversation. So this is how we build. So we basically test out whether it's needed, and then we try to build
Yeah.
it. Because otherwise, I saw so many different startups that got big investments, and they spend so many time and money for developing something, and then eventually most of that thing didn't reach even the user itself. So we launched before doing anything. So we launched it, and then we built it. So this is how we did it for past 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing, super interesting. And it sounds like market sort of research was quite key into helping you sort of develop as the product went along.
Yeah. So you know we we always were in touch with suppliers. So we visited many food trade shows, like the main European food trade shows, and we talked with so many suppliers, and from one side we boarded them on the marketplace. From other side, we basically hear what they wanted and what kind of problems do they had. And this is I think this helped us a lot. From one side, we invested our money, so it was kind of we didn't have a lot of investments, so we needed to really build that it's needed. not to build what we think we would like. Yeah, I think that this concept in general stays with us till now. We already raised some funding, so now it's much easier for us to understand what to build, and it's much easier to
Mhm.
efficiently build the things. Yeah.
Yeah, congrats on the funding. That's pretty cool. It's always a great achievement to have. So you mentioned, you have these buyers and these suppliers on the platform. Um, and that's important. Attracting them is important, but keeping them loyal onto the platform is incredible, like arguably
Yeah.
sometimes more important. What is your advice to other marketplaces that
Mhm.
today that want to retain their customers on the platform, to retain their
Mhm.
business on the platform?
Yeah. So I have a general concept that I think applies even for the acquisition and for the retention itself. So I think that different B2B businesses operate in specific ways today, and basically, the online is just another channel which has to give a better experience in general. And so I really think that people are starting to use something just because it's easier in some way, or they get a better experience doing that. And I think it's a really crucial in a B2B marketplace to have that experience. So what we are trying to do is basically measure how fast the user will get the value. And
Mhm.
so if your marketplace value is basically to give a potential client, or to give a sales for some company, this is the value that you want to achieve fastest as you can. So if you imagine, there are so many digital tools at the moment, and people are really lazy even to try those, because it's so much time to just test it out, etc. And most of those tests are like one time. So if you have the user, if he didn't get your product in one registration, one session, you know it's probably you will lose it, really, really fast. So what we're trying to do is basically optimize the time to value in the whole funnel, whether it's an acquisition or trying to retain it. And there are so many strategies, by trying to bring it back, and I think that those strategies you can find it online. But basically, I think the main concept is to if you are able to bring value fast, all the buyers and suppliers would like to be there. Yeah, I think this is
Yeah.
like the core.
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely is reflective. I saw a study that, e-commerce and online is becoming more and more increasingly demanded by people, and that ease of use is so important. So it definitely is something that B2B marketplaces should look out for
Yeah.
in terms of retaining that loyalty. I'd also love to know what the biggest challenge that you faced as a marketplace founder, and in your marketplace, what was the biggest challenge that you faced and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, so I think there are many challenges. One of the challenges to understand what to do, because there are so many pillars to a successful marketplace. From one side, you have to have buyers. From other side, you have to have suppliers. And especially in the food industry, you have so many food categories. So you can imagine that when you bring buyer, you should have specific products for that buyer. And I think the biggest mistake that probably I made is that I stepped into most of the categories in the food. So which from one side made them kind of hard for us to generate enough of the supply that will be interested. From other side, it's very, I would say, specific market, and if you go into the supermarket and you don't see this amount of supply, you probably will not go there. So I think this is the mistake that we did. We could, specialize in very specific products like coffee or whatever. Uh, Make a huge supply of coffee suppliers, and and then uh, I make all the results much faster. So this is maybe a mistake that I would if I would do it second time with the marketplace, I probably narrow down to very specific product group at the beginning, just to prove that everything works, and we can go on. Yeah.
Y- Yeah, yeah. Actually, I had a conversation with another marketplace founder a few weeks back, and he initially started his marketplace as sort of food and beverage wholesale, and he'd seen a lot of growth, and now that he's seeing this growth, he's now tackling another market or another sort of section, and then he plans to tackle another section sort of as the growth going. So yeah, very similar to sort of what you're saying.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah. And one more question, Thomas. So B2B marketplaces have lots of competitors. So not just, direct marketplaces that are competitors, but you've got other e-commerce wholesale websites, and offline sellers, especially in the food and beverage industry. This is one that's 100 years old or more. What do you consider to be sort of the most dangerous form of competition, and how do you think you'll come out on top of that?
hmm So in general, I think one of the things that we want to achieve is we want to really concentrate, and position ourselves as a marketplace for sustainable food. And there's really little of those. And Another thing which is important, I think, is the supply side. So I think if you have the biggest supply side of the specific products, you'll be very interesting. And I think this is probably one of the way to win the competition. I think at the moment, one of the things that help us to grow is basically being able to survive, because psychologically I think it's a really important thing to it's challenging, and if you are able to survive, if you are able to onboard suppliers, if you are able to bring value for the buyers, this probably I think is the key to win the
Yeah.
competition, and to be unique in this sphere. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thomas, thank you so, so much. This has all been super insightful, and I'm sure it's going to help a lot of other marketplaces too.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you too. I hope it does.